Hello, you're welcome. In this video, I want to show you how you can correct error values in Excel. And for us to do this, it is important that you know some kind of error types. And I'll first of all show you some of these error types in this very video and demonstrate how they exist. So the first error type is this column not wide, where you see the pound sign that goes across. So it tells you that your column is not wide enough for the value that is supposed to be there. Then you have blocked, which can be that the URL you're trying to access or the file is not accessible. You have the CAG, which is showing you that there is an unspecified calculation error in an array. So you will need to fix array formula. When you divide a value by 0, you get this divide by 0 error. And when you are performing lookup function for a value that cannot be matched, you get this NA error. For name, when you are using a function whose name does not exist, or the spelling is wrong, you can also have a null error when your intersection has an invalid range. You can have a num error when you are performing an invalid numeric calculation, and a rev error when you are having an invalid reference. For a spill error, it can be when you are having a dynamic array blocked by existing data. And for value error, this can be when you have wrong data types in your formula. So let's just see a few of these errors and how we can correct them. So if I come to this other sheet, you can see that I have errors here. The first error that I have here is the div by 0 error. So it tells us that we are dividing by 0, which is not supposed to be so. Okay, so to correct this, we have to correct this our division by 0. So we can either look at our data sheet again to be sure that we entered the right data. So it's possible that we did not enter the correct data. So in my case, I have looked into mine and I've seen that I'm supposed to have 6,000 here. So if I change it to 6,000, you can see that I have been able to correct this error. Now, here, the person that was entering our data eventually entered NA because he did not find any value to enter. And because of this, we are having a value error returned. So we have consulted with the team involved, and the value that is supposed to be here is 18,000. So if we correct this to 18,000, you can see that we have also corrected this error. Now, for this final error, we are actually referencing D11, D100 by mistake. Okay, and we can see our calculation. This is the formula that we are using. So we subtract the current quarter. We subtract the previous quarter from the current quarter and divide by the previous quarter. Okay, so if that is the case, then we did use a wrong referencing here. So I will use the right referencing. So I will subtract and divide by this quarter. So you can see we've corrected the errors in this very sheet successfully. Then here, I also have errors. So the first error here I have is this inconsistent formula. So this inconsistent formula tells me that the formula I have above here is different from what I have here. So I need to check it and be sure it is really what I want. So I've checked, and what I want is actually different. So I'm supposed to have a multiplication here. So if I use a multiplication and I enter, you see the error is gone. Okay. So I can just take it down to correct all these other errors. Okay. So you can see I've corrected these other two errors by just ensuring that the formula I'm using is consistent. Now for the final error, which is this value error. So it is because what I have here is in words instead of in numerals. So I will just change it to 30, and you can see it has also been corrected. Then another kind of error is this NA error, which comes from our lookup value. So you can see that the issue that we are having here is that for our lookup value, we selected this A7, and we do not have any A7 in what we are looking at. Okay, so in order to correct this, I am going to check for what I want to look up. So in my case, I want to look up this 103. So I will change this to 103. Then for the formula, it will now be A8. Okay, so I will change this to A8. And then for my range, I will select a new range. And where I have these two, I want to get the name, okay, which is the name from this 103. So I will use my column 2. This is column 1 and this is column 2. Then my lookup, range lookup, whether I want exact value or not. In my case, I want exact value, so I will just choose exact match, which is false, and I enter. So you can see I got Steve returned instead of the error that I had before. So I can actually correct this to name. Okay. So we also have some other errors here. So the first here is what we call this column not wide error. So I come back here, and this is because this column is not wide enough to contain this figure. Okay, so this is 1 billion. So I will just double tap on this very arrow. So here where I have this demarcation, I double tap on it, and you can see it shows everything. Then this null intersection is due to the intersection that we have here, though we do not have any data here that we are summing. But for us to be able to sum multiple data, we cannot just leave a space here. So let's take, for example, I will sum from another data sheet. So if I click on sum here, I will come to this employee data errors. Okay, so I want to sum for hour and hour rate. So you will see that as I select from B to C, that's from B2 to C, there is a range. Okay, so even if I do not want to select from this to this to have this column, I can clear this. So I want to sum B column and my D column. So there is a comma here separating it. That's another thing. So it's either you're using a column, or if it is different columns, you use a comma to separate and not just leave it blank. So if I close this now, I think here, need to clear this, then enter. You can see that the error is gone now. Then for this, I'm using an invalid email address, URL, to look for my image. Okay, so this is actually a function you can use to get image from the web. And here I'm using an invalid web address. So in order to correct this, I will have to look for the correct web address and then enter it here. Once I do that, this block will be cleared. Okay, and that's just what I want to show you in this video. And I hope you've been able to find this video helpful on how you can correct your error values and what each error value represents. If you have found this video helpful, kindly like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.